one here, and I think now we can see the board. So, this question is quite interesting because, I mean, many people has been asked these questions of 10x, and maybe some of you are familiar with this kind of 10x concept from Google, which is big, right? It's part of the ethos and the culture of Google, which they call 10x thinking, which is big thinking, big ideas, right? And I've been thinking about these questions for quite a while because traditional ways of, for example, traditional strategy frameworks are something that won't work well here, especially for Google, right? And the reason why is because they actually think that these frameworks, are not good for thinking big, right? Thinking out of the box. The other thing is that when they ask you a 10x question, they really don't want you to come up with, okay, this is going to be revenue, it's going to be 10 times this because the market size is this and that. It's not about a market size or market sizing or anything like that. It's actually about coming out with a breakthrough idea, right? And so that is hard. And I was investigating about how to think about this, how to do it. And I found interesting articles that, maybe if you had the opportunity to read them, that I put in the meetup, actually shed some light, right, on how to actually approach these kinds of questions. And what I wanted to do today is to contrast sort of the traditional way of thinking in terms of like strategy, to see what we come up with, and then the new way, okay, which is the new way is based on what is called principles of first principles of reasoning. And maybe some of you are familiar with that too, because, I think Elon Musk gave an interview a while ago, and, and what he was saying is that he uses those principles because he's a physicist, right? So, and physicists use these principles, which means the idea is that you distill every assumption, you bring down something to the lowest levels of truths, right? And then basically you build a new idea from the ground up. It's like peeling the onion of something. And so, one example that he gave was like, for example, for the battery for the Tesla, he figured, okay, why does it cost $600 for this thing when if you take all the components apart, the result is like $10. So there's gotta be a way to make it cheaper. So basically he decomposes everything to the lowest levels of truths, what is actually the material, the cost of the material, and then starts from the ground up. And so that's what I want to try to do here and compare the two approaches, traditional approach and then this other approach. Do you guys have any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay. So let's start with the traditional approach, way of thinking, okay? And I just want to be a guide to do this, and would love to hear your ideas along the way, okay? So, traditional framework, traditional growth framework. And there could be other frameworks, but this is one that I think is used a lot, which is, you look at two axes here. You look at the market and you look at the product, right? And here you think about what's existing market, new market, and here you have existing product and new product, right? And so if you think about it and say, okay, how am I going to grow, my company revenue? You think, okay, if I have an existing product in an existing market, the way to do it is basically with competitive tactics, right? This is sort of like the competitive approach. Probably this is more like if you want to gain market share, what do you do to improve? This is more about improvements. So that's kind of incremental. Now, if you think about, you have an existing product and now you want to, target that product to a new market, there are more possibilities for growth, right? Maybe it's a new segment of people. And so this is what it's called the market penetration. Then you have the other two combinations, which is you have a new product and you are targeting an existing market that you have. That is called the product development. So here it's about, okay, you're making new features, right? Something new for that already existing market. And, these two are more risky than this one, of course, because here you know the product, you know the market, you have enough knowledge. Here, you know the product, but you don't know the market. Here, you know the market, but not the product. So these are a little bit riskier. Now you enter this one, which is you build a new product for a new market. And that's what is called diversification. Right? So that has the greatest opportunity, right? But also the highest risk. And usually what happens in traditional approaches, in this case, for both of this, acquisition is the way, companies go. Here is also innovation, but innovation takes years, right? To come up with some new ideas. And so what I want to do now is to think about these three areas. So let's think about market penetration, product development, and at the end, diversification, and see what you guys can come up with, to do something new in this area. So do this with new ideas that is going to grow revenue. And then what we're going to do is compare this with the new method that I was talking about. Now, to start with, right, so this is sort of like the approach. But to start with, we need to start with what is the state? What is the state of the product, right? And, by that, we need to know, who are the users, and we need to know also what the product offers, right? The product offerings. Okay, and once we know this, then we can start thinking about what new to do based on this framework. Any questions about that?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, cool. So the question, was like, how to increase YouTube revenue by 10x. All right. So let's start with just knowing what's the state of the product today. And then we're going to go into each of these areas, and we finalize with the other method. So you guys know, first of all, who are the users of YouTube?
Content creators.
Okay. Creators.
Yeah, and on top of content creator, I will put it more color in terms of, I think it's going to be a set of people who would like to express themselves through, looking, doing multimedia content to record basically what they were doing and what they're trying to share to people. So, it's going to be a group of people who would like to express themselves through some multimedia formats.
And
I think that's really
that can be put here under creators, because you're saying, hey, they're creating something new and they want to share that. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be put under creators, right? And, let's you guys mentioned, you said they want to show their work, and I think that also they want to earn, right? They want to earn some money. Okay. What other users?
Advertisers.
Yep. What do they want on YouTube?
They want their brand shared with the user, or brand reinforcement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to be, you're saying like get sponsorship.
Get sponsorship,
Okay.
introduce new products.
What else? They want to target, right?
Target, yeah.
Target users. What else? In general, they are there for marketing activities, right?
Correct.
All right, let's go to the ones that are the most important ones.
Yeah, consumers, whoever, the 1 billion people.
Exactly. Actually, it's almost 2 billion.
It's almost right.
All right, so these guys, what? They want to be entertained, right?
Right.
Entertainment,
Entertained, educated.
learn. What
Yep.
else? They probably want to share, right?
Yeah.
What they view and make sure the experience. Okay, so let's leave it as that. How about the, now let's go into, is there another user? I think we covered the three major ones, right?
Small businesses, maybe, I don't know, but they may be under the creators.
Brands.
Everyone else will be a subset, I think, of something or the other.
Yeah, brands
Yeah,
would be like under creators.
brands. Actually, brands can be under advertisers, right? Yeah. All right. All right. So let's go into the products. Okay. YouTube products. And I made my my research, so I know which they are. But let's hear it from you.
I mean, they've got their the free offering, right? The regular YouTube, and then the paid one, which I think is I forget its name. Sorry,
I think it's YouTube Red, I believe.
that's right, YouTube Red. Thank you.
Yes, that has changed. It's now called YouTube Premium.
Premium. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a stupid branding.
All right. The other one is, you know, and I'm gonna put here used to be YouTube Red. Okay. All right. The other one is what? The music, right?
Yeah. YouTube Music.
Okay.
There's also YouTube TV.
YouTube TV.
There's something for the kids. I don't remember what it is.
For what?
There's something for the kids.
Yeah, YouTube Kids.
Yeah, YouTube Kids. Yeah.
Very well. There's also YouTube Gaming.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think they bought. Did they bought their competitor? I have to find out, but I think they did. I'm not sure. Well, I have to review my articles. But okay, so in YouTube Premium, you know, this is YouTube Music. You know, I don't think that this matters, but I'm just gonna put here. This is like about $10 per person. This is about like $12. And actually, this includes YouTube Music, which is kind of weird. And then you know, this is like replacement of cable TV, right? So this replaces cable, and it's about $40 a month. YouTube Music is basically competing with Spotify, right? YouTube Video, of course, is competing with all the you know, OTTs, Netflix and whatnot. YouTube Kids is just free. I haven't seen any payment for that. And YouTube Gaming is basically this sort of like live, right, gaming. sponsorship, and I think the gamers get sponsored. So you can pay $5 to help the gamer and be part of that community. So this is, I think, all of them, all of the products under the YouTube brand, right? And I put this here because we need to have a basis, right? We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So now let's go into these areas, right? And let's see if we can brainstorm something new. Right. Oh, I didn't take a photo. But not enough. All right, so let's take it. Okay, so let's go into the part that is existing product and new market, okay? And and by new market, what do we mean by new market?
I think it's similar to what YouTube Pete has. Essentially it's kind of a same product like YouTube, but I think you have a totally different target audience, like kids, for example. So I think on top of that, there's also some particular new features around how do you protect kids from watching inappropriate content, content targeting in the sense that there's going to be content that really for the kids, the cartoon and education kind of videos. So the technology behind the product is the same, it's just for a different set of users.
Yeah. So that's well, existing product and new market. So by new market, actually, what is meant is like a new use, right? Or a new type of user. For example, the video market is very different than the music market, right? Or this YouTube, the video that these kids are gonna watch, it's a totally different market, right, than the cable TV, because it's addressing a totally different usage, right? Totally different application. So that's what we mean by new market, right? A totally different application, totally different use for it, right? And the existing product would be the technology that they have, with YouTube. Does that make sense, Abby?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's think about new markets, where YouTube can use their technologies to apply to these new kinds of needs, new kinds of uses. Let's start.
How about education? Like, in a sense that, video classes that are available and accessible for, people in the world.
Yep. Learning market, such as, they can compete with Udemy, for example, right? What else?
You could do like a business-to-business application where you can let, because like big companies have their all-hands presentations, right? Like one person is broadcasting to everyone, so you could use it for that. Like a way for.
What would be the use case?
Well, I mean, you would have. So you'd basically deploy a version that's internal to a company where like your CEO wants to give like a quarterly all-hands or something like that, and you can use YouTube for that and collect comments and questions and stuff like that.
Okay, so how should we call that?
YouTube broadcast or something.
That's too general. I would say
YouTube for work. Sorry, I'm gonna stop.
YouTube for work. That's good. So it's like internal broadcast. Okay. Very good. What else?
Would do the same thing for healthcare, perhaps, for a better engagement between doctor and the physicians and the patient, remote patients,
Like healthcare,
and gather their feedback and
doctor patient. Should we put
yeah,
healthcare? Yeah,
like telehealth or something.
doctor patient. You know, doctor patient relations. Okay. What else? All right, that's good. Let's move on. How about new product, existing market? Okay. New product. Let's shoot. So the existing market, like the same people that watch YouTube and go there, is there something new that we can create for them? New product.
Virtual reality across the board.
What does that mean?
I mean, so for example, the gaming thing, right? Like if you YouTube gaming, sure, you can play games on the regular screen, but you could also have like an immersive VR experience and play the game. That, you know.
Like immersive VR.
Yeah. I mean, you can already see a lot of these games starting to hit the market. Like there's that one with the lightsabers, and like, it's a completely immersive experience. It's actually really cool.
That's very nice. And that will entail, you know, the hardware and all the stuff, right? And then you
Right. Yeah.
All right. So,
I mean, it'll be like a competitor to Facebook's Oculus Rift, like that sort of thing.
Okay. Let's go into what else? So I have another one, which would be like for advertisers. I was thinking you can have a storytelling tool that allows them to create stories, you know, get help with stories, just like what Apple has, where they tell you, you know, what the scenes are like in 5 steps and also the music behind it. So I would say storytelling.
So that advertisers can create quick and easy ads, like
Yes,
okay.
but they are more compelling, right? Like story-based ads.
Like basically, like you're doing their job for them almost, and they just need to be like, okay, yes, this works.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know, not everybody can tell good stories. What else?
I think of something called YouTube Studio. Essentially, hey, just having the content creator to make the video, edit the video, everything within YouTube. So instead of using multiple apps, editing the videos, they can just do everything, all the editing right through within YouTube.
Let's give a use case.
Let's say, hey, there's somebody who would like to make a music video. So normally, hey, you have to use different equipments. You have to make lots of videos, and then afterwards you have to do lots of the kind of the post editing of the tool before you make a video together and upload it on YouTube. So what about, hey, now we are using YouTube to actually support not just phone or PC, but also any of the video framing equipment. So actually while you're framing, everything goes directly to YouTube, and from YouTube now you have a rich set of features where you can start editing, cutting the videos, doing even like the post framing effects, everything in YouTube.
Sort of like more professional video editing.
Yep.
Video editor. And this is okay. Good. Any other thoughts? I was thinking also a course making tool. There are a lot of, I don't know if you guys use Udemy. I do use Udemy a lot. And there are a lot of instructors in Udemy that actually put their videos on YouTube to lead them to Udemy. Right? I was thinking that, hey, why not use a course, a tool that allows them to make a course on YouTube, right? So they don't have to go to Udemy and do that. Okay, so that would be that. Let's go now quickly to the last one, which is new product, new market. Okay, this is an interesting one. Here you can go crazy. This is a hard one.
I kind of start thinking about YouTube as just a kind of art, meaning, hey, this is multimedia, right? Can actually leverage, kind of a sharing platform for bidding of some super expensive art products, for the kind of like those that Sophie kind of the rich guy kind of the auction events where can we use YouTube as just the premium auction event for really expensive art.
So sort of like it's target the auction market.
Interesting.
Auction marketplace. Okay, that's cool.
So is that new product, new market, or existing product, new market?
This is new product, new market because you will have to add some auction capabilities into the
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's a very good idea. What else?
YouTube as a marketing platform. What I mean with it is a use case where they can measure how their ad does, say before the NFL season starts, and then after Super Bowl, and YouTube selling them some analytics or giving their own recommendations as to how you can achieve lift in your sales by positioning ads on a certain time.
Yeah, actually, YouTube has a very rich set of analytics tools.
Okay.
And I think they do a lot of A/B testing and things like that. So I think that would be a little bit. It's not a new market, and could be an added feature. So I would put that actually under, sort of new product, existing market.
Got it.
All right. So this is hard, right? Because it's hard to think of both of them at the same time. Any other ideas?
I can think of one more. Let's say it's a video journaling system for astronauts because space communication could be expensive. So why don't we have a sharing platform where astronauts make their videos, journals, picking the platforms, and we allow some delay for people on the Earth to be able to see what's going on with the astronauts instead of establishing really expensive direct real-time communication.
But what would make it different than videotaping themselves and just put it in YouTube? So this would be like a new channel.
Yeah. So instead of more actually I don't know. Maybe it's the same, but
yes.
Maybe it's just kind of a new market, existing product then.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think it would be like a new channel, right?
Yep.
I think that I think that would be just the same product, same market, but it's just a different kind of content.
Melinda, how about navigation? The use case of navigation here. What I was thinking is when you drive a car. Yeah. So when you drive a car, right? So usually navigation happens using a voice command that go 300 meters, take a turn, right? And while driving, you are not really aware of when the 300 meter is crossed. It's always helpful if you get a preview of the path or the route that you're going to take. And in that preview, if the instruction comes that you have to notice this building, after this building you have to take a right, that is a better clue for navigation. And maybe YouTube can help in that.
Okay. So that would be a new market, right?
Yeah, navigation is a new market product. Of course, some tweaking is required because the product has to be suitable for the use case of navigation.
Auto navigation, right?
Yeah, it's a sizable market too because a lot of people drive.
Yep, that makes sense. That's a good idea. I can see the appeal. I would imagine that that would go better with Google Maps, but
Yeah.
why not? Let's just put it here, right?
Right.
So let's go. I think we have good enough ideas here.
What is that idea? What is that idea again about the navigation?
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Sure. So navigation, the idea is about giving a video preview of the route that you're going to take, and then providing clue at every junction that like you're traveling and then you locate this building and then you take a right, or you locate this signboard and then you take a right, instead of telling that 300 meters you have to take a right. So something of that sort. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So
What about, sorry, I mean, this may be a stupid idea, but I'll put it out there.
stupid idea.
What about like creating, so like in the real estate market and stuff like that, there you have like these virtual tours of apartments, and a lot of times you're looking to move to a city you've never been to and you're looking to get an apartment. So, I mean, that might be up YouTube's alley.
I would say
Video virtual tours via YouTube, and you could even add on like a video conferencing thing with an actual realtor there, and yeah, I mean, you can do all kinds of cool things, or not even video conferencing, like a video attachment to the actual tour.
Yeah, I think that's a nice idea too. Great. Very good. Okay. So, all right. So what I want to do now is to go to the new way of doing this, to come up with a breakthrough idea based on first principles of reasoning. Okay. So I'm gonna put here. Okay. First principles of reasoning. Okay, and so let's. I think this color is getting used. Right. So I'm just going to tell you what this means. It's really to create solutions beyond what would be possible when using a comparative approach based on convention and analogy, right? I think a lot of the ideas that we put here are really based on us knowing something that exists, and then how to maybe have a product that addresses that. And I'll tell you what Elon Musk said, just to get an idea of what this means. He mentioned that I think generally people's thinking process is too bound by convention or analogy to prior experiences. They will say, we will do that because it has always been done that way. And he says that with first principles reasoning, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths, and then you reason up from there. And so that's why we're going to try to do this. And if I were to like answer this question in an interview, I will try to do it in 3 steps. First, I start with the way we started, which is, the state of YouTube in terms of the users, and the products it has. Then what I would do is I'm going to start using the first reason principle, and I will peel back the onion, so to speak, in terms of assumptions about the needs of the user, why they're using YouTube. Okay. So I will use a method which you probably are familiar with, ask the whys and keep going down until you get to the truth of everything. And then I will build the product, a new product from ground up. All right, so let's go through an exercise and see where we land. What I would ask first is, I'll start with the consumer, okay? So this is step number 2, but we already did number 1. So YouTube consumer. Let's start with that one, which is the principal one. And I will ask you the question, why do they want to use YouTube? And I will keep going down asking you why, until we get to a point where it's obvious why. So let's start with that.
Consumer, you're meaning the viewer of YouTube videos, right?
Yes.
So I think the first reason is that people are bored. They are trying to find ways to be entertained.
Okay.
Or educated.
Want to be entertained or educated. They want to learn. They may also want to research, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Why? What else can they do there? Why do they go there?
Well, also to upload things about themselves. I mean, to create content, to express their art or their music, or whatever they're creating.
Express themselves, basically.
Yeah.
They're just cool. All right, we'll move on quickly because this is how interviews are. Now, let's start with, why is the person bored? I'm going to start asking these questions. Why is the person bored? Or why, excuse me, why doesn't the person want to be bored, right? Why doesn't user want to be bored? Why do you think you don't want to be bored?
Well, I mean, most human beings have, complex brains, well, other than Republicans. And so, sorry. And so, therefore, need to be constantly challenged, or they need to, and that's the reason why.
Need to be challenged.
I think another way to look at it is human brains crave stimulations naturally, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
Human brain craves stimulation, right? Okay. Now I'm going to ask, why? Why do we need to be challenged?
I'm thinking of kind of the hierarchy of needs, where kind of the self-actualization is kind of the top of the pyramid, right? I think lots of the human beings nowadays are already, all the basic needs of survival are already fulfilled. So, people now, tend to look for a purpose in life, or maybe not that far, but essentially, we have a lot more time in the past where you have to work for 20 hours to try to earn bread. Right now, you have this extra time where you can see how others can achieve themselves, and hopefully, from those you can, find some inspiration of what you can do in your life as well.
What happens if you are not challenged?
I'm not motivated. I lose motivation of what I'm doing in my daily lives.
I mean, you get depressed, basically. You get depressed and bored.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back, that's almost circular.
Challenged because you get depressed, basically you are in pain, right?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Although, is that true of everyone though? I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's true for some of us here, but like when you look around the country, I'm certain people don't want to be challenged.
I
Or
think,
don't know. Maybe that's unfair. I don't know.
I think that people are challenged in different ways. But for example, look at the gamers, right? You would say that they are wasting their time, but in
I
fact,
would say that, yes.
challenge, right? So
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think that is true for everybody, right?
Yeah, they're challenged in their own way, I suppose. And I forgot this conversation being recorded. Damn it.
So being in pain is basically the bottom line, I think, right? Somehow you are in pain. All right. So that's good. So we went to the bottom line, right? To relieve pain. We need to do something to relieve pain. That's why people go, because they want to relieve the pain. Same thing, why do you want to be entertained? Goes to the same route, right? Why do you want to learn? What do you want to research? It's because at the end, you want to be challenged. You don't want to be depressed. Now, why do you want to be entertained? Because you don't want to be bored. Why don't you want to be bored? Because it's painful to be bored, right?
Yep.
And people want to escape. So everything goes to pain. Why do you want to express your artistry? Let's look at that. Why express yourself, your artistry? Why do you think?
A side gig which can potentially become a career.
You say for betterment in terms of for professional betterment?
Yes.
Or maybe to generalize that I want to be famous.
Yeah.
Betterment for fame, right?
Easy platform.
What else?
Easy platform. Like if you had to go to stage or you want to get into the movies, it's gonna be so hard unless you know somebody in the industry. This is an easy platform that is available to you.
Is that
You can
why
express
you want to express yourself or why you want to use YouTube?
For fame. Basically, people want to become famous so that they are being noticed, right? To be noticed.
Well, I mean, ego, basically.
To be noticed, right? Ego. You're saying ego. Okay. So, an ego thing. Now, let's.
I mean, you have ego. I mean, you've got your passion also, right? For some people, it's not ego. So, I mean, that's how they identify themselves like that, and they want to share that. So,
I think that what you want to say is that you want to differentiate yourself.
right, yeah. Differentiate yourself. That's your identity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that could go down to the same path where people want to be challenged. That's why they want to be noticed.
They want to be challenged. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I see. Or maybe they just want to be loved, right? To be noticed.
That's sad.
To be appreciated, right? They want to be appreciated.
Yeah, appreciated that. Yeah, the whole vanity, I guess.
To be noticed, appreciated. So all this stuff goes in here, right? So now let's go into the next question. Okay. Why do you want to be noticed? Let's pick this one. Or
because you feel lonely.
To get companionship. Okay. What else? That's one. I would put here to to feel self-worth. So to get companionship, not be able. Let's go into the next one. Why do you want to get companionship? Why don't you want to be alone? I think it's scary to be alone.
Comes back to being bored again.
I think it, for me, it would be scary. Or here would be, painful to be alone. How about the other one? Why do you need self-worth?
That again goes down to depression. Ultimately, be unhappiness, basically.
Unhappiness, right? Otherwise, yeah, you feel pain otherwise. Okay. So we have several things here, right? And what I want to notice is, can we come up with some idea of a new product that goes to the bottom line, of these feelings, right? Feeling of self-worth, of like you don't want to be alone, right? You want to be you have to have one companionship. We have also here self-worth, companionship. We have here this pain of being bored, right? So what happens when you watch these videos? Like, to me, it's like extremely passive, right? You're sitting there and you're watching everything that's happening on the video, but what you really want to do is to be part of it. At least when I watch movies, right? And so one idea that occurred to me is like, hey, why not have a product where it's called, be part of the cast. So the TV can have a camera, takes a video of me and immerse me inside the movie. So I'm one of the characters and I get the script. So now I can be part of the movie, sort of like act, and I can see myself on the scene. So that would make me part of what I'm watching, right? Any other ideas? I'm gonna start putting ideas here.
Yeah, so I think this could work really well in fitness, like group fitness videos, kind of.
Okay, so can you relate it to one of these bottom line feelings? So we're gonna put here new solutions, right? One was, as I said, be part of movie, cast. How about that? Somebody said something about sports.
Yeah, I'm Shubham. Yeah, so I think it will be like mostly related to being challenged, or
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, it creates a community for all the fit. Like, it creates a community like a CrossFit kind of community where you do workouts together. So that's.
CrossFit community. Now,
You could actually extend that concept almost across the board, right? In terms of you can have group classrooms, like for education, right? Like you're talking about, you want to be entertained and educated, so you can have like group classroom sessions in YouTube. You can have like group movie sessions, like you can meet up offline and like watch a movie.
Yeah, that is not leading us to breakthrough ideas, right?
Sorry?
That is not leading us to breakthrough ideas, because that seems like you know, it's
No, what I meant was that like YouTube can almost sort of based on the data, you know what kind of people like what movies and stuff like that. So you can create an offline community and you can have them actually meet up together offline and schedule movies or like have marathons. And because like ultimately you don't want to be alone, you don't want to be unhappy, right? So like this would be a way to take care of that.
I see. Okay, so communities.
I think of another idea. How about we offer a chance for you to be someone else? Let's say you can pay to simulate a day of, let's say, Donald Trump.
Oh.
So, feel to be challenged, just, feeling like ultimately you want to feel the one to feel, what others are doing in their lives, right? What about you just, if you simulate.
How would that look like? Can you tell me?
I would think about something like a VR solution where, let's say, the content creator, let's say, kind of, record a full day of, how their day looks like. So now they become a sessions where it's become like an episode that you can buy from something and say, hey, this is a day of, what Taylor Swift would look like, buy that. And then you kind of use a VR experience to immerse into what a day of Taylor Swift would be like.
So, but does that include YouTube? Like you will have to. So what I'm trying to say is like, isn't that more like VR solution?
It's VR solution, but I hope it's more in an immersive way where you're not just like an outsider looking in a VR video, looking how others what others are doing, but essentially you're immersed if the person is himself or herself feeling the environment, or probably not achievable with the current VR solution, but hopefully with more breakthrough in the technology in the future where it could be more immersive, where you can be that person virtually at least.
Yeah, so that's similar to my movie cast, right? But you're using VR, which is you have to be immersed, right? So be someone else. Okay, that's cool. What else?
I think part of being immersive is the families are so geographically separated now,
Mm-hmm.
and they never get an experience of watching a movie together or watching a show together. Bringing an experience like that with your childhood friends or your family, and giving them an experience of sitting together and enjoying a movie in a VR setting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like maybe going to the movies together.
Yes, I think Hyundai did something like that for their marketing campaign, showing the military personnel deployed outside US and giving them an experience of watching NFL game along with their family.
Yeah, and this is for remote families. Okay, so I think we have a bunch of ideas here. One final idea I had was like theater with friends, which means basically what I meant is you have ML, machine learning creates scripts. Friends get together in a channel and play the score. Play this, they play their scripts. And so, maybe you have this service where it's like, hey, I want to play a drama today with my friends, create a script, and everybody has their own part. Maybe they audition for it, right? And the machine learning tool can say, okay, you're better for this part, you're better for this part, you're better for this part. And they can like play together and be videotaped and stuff like that. So that way it's like all these activities are, not being alone, you are interacting, right? you are in companionship. You know, and we didn't pick the self-worth, but that's another area we could have explored of self-worth. What would that mean? But I think these are good ideas. Anyway, so we have to finish. So I'll just wrap up here. You know, we had these ideas, and then we had these ones with a different method, right? Do you see the difference between these ideas and these ones?
I don't know. I kind of like the list on the left more.
You.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why?
First of all, there are more of them. Secondly, they seem more practical.
I see. Right, more practical. That's true.
Like the professional video editor, that's like a really cool thing. I mean, it could generate some real value.
Yeah, but that's not going to raise any eyebrows, right? Because that's
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's a copy, right? This is sort of like a copy. It exists.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, the VR thing would raise the VR thing.
Learning market. This is a copy. It's a good market, but it's a copy.
Yeah.
YouTube for work. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That would put a start here. Now we're going to look at the market size, you know, in a minute. But healthcare for doctor-patient relations, you know, that already exists, right? So that would be a copy. Immersive VR with like Oculus again, that's copy. You know, Facebook. Story tool for advertisers, that's also copy. Apple already has something like that. Course making tool, yeah, that's kind of like a copy because Udemy has that.
Yeah, here are the new ones.
Auction marketplace, that's interesting, right? So that I haven't seen. Of course, you would think immediately about eBay, right?
Yeah, but I mean, eBay it's very much of an offline market. I mean, it's not the same, right? It's
this can be in a much real setting in terms of live bidding type of situation.
like a live auction, basically.
Live auction, right?
Yeah, I mean, we tried doing something like that when I was at eBay, but like obviously we didn't have the video component. It was all done through like buttons and.
That's an interesting one. Auto navigation. I think that's an interesting one.
To be honest, that use case is very specific for areas where like you don't have a good road system. Like in India, I can see why you'd need something like that because that's literally how we would give directions in India. I mean,
it's kind of niche.
Yeah.
And then real estate virtual tours. That's interesting too, but it's kind of niche too, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at a massive, because we're going to have 10x impact, right? It has to be massive. I think that probably the best idea here is the auction market. And now let's look at this. These are more avant-garde, right? And this is looking into the future, really. So it's not practical, but Google is not looking for practical, right?
That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
So Google is looking for something that's going to be completely different than anything else that has been done. And also the way they think is if you try to build something that is so difficult, it will drive you to create innovations along the way. Okay. So that's why they think 10x, right? So I think that these ideas, you know, are good ideas in terms of like, because it changes the paradigm of watching. Okay, you are not a watcher anymore. You are also in it, right? So that's why I think that thinking this way takes you to the bottom line of why people are watching movies, you know. I don't know about you, but when I watch a movie after another, I feel like, my God, it's like, you know, you feel kind of empty at the end because you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Well, unless you're learning something from it.
Well, I watch crime movies. I want to be the detective.
I would hope so.
So I like my own ideas to be part of the cast. In a movie, I would love to be the detective in one of those movies that I watch. But I also like this, the VR one, which is, yes, everybody wants to be somebody else. So I think that would take off. Would be something that people would love.
So how do you present the idea to the interviewer finally? I mean, like, what do you say as how this is going to 10x it? How do you make that justification? Because we have a bunch of cool ideas, but like, how do we know that that's going to, and how do we convince the interviewer?
So remember, they're not asking you to size the market, right?
Okay.
They're asking you this question to see how you think.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Whether you have a method or a way to come up with completely crazy breakthrough ideas, right? But I can say this has massive impact. Look, you think people are not going to go running for this? Like if I can be anybody else, right?
Yeah.
Or if I want to be part of the movie, I want to be an actor. Like who doesn't want to be an actor, right? That has massive appeal, I think.
Actually, you could combine the two. Like, I mean, you could create your own virtual reality movie in which you are basically, creating like a whole immersive experience, like designing the movie, you're acting in it, like the combination of 1 and 3, basically.
Yeah, or they can,
just experience the movie, a whole new movie as someone else.
Yeah, I mean, you can have different variations, right? But I think the insight, right, or the key takeaway is that we wouldn't have come with these ideas unless we come to the bottom line of why people want to watch videos.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's the key takeaway, right? And yeah,
you can go a step forward and play yourself in Titanic or Godfather and see how it feels like.
Exactly, I would love that, right?
That'd be fun.
Yeah, so I still will have to, like if I were asked this question, maybe I'll say, you know what, if I want to think completely different than anything else, this is the approach I would use, right?
One thing that when I was interviewing and when I was practicing, I saw a person do it. They started with what is the current revenue, and 10x means what would be that number, and then after they came up with all the ideas, they somehow tried to tie those points and get to that number by doing quick estimations.
Yeah, I would start first with the ideas, come up with these ideas, right? And then I would, okay, there are about 2 billion users on YouTube. Let's if this is a new service, right? And let's say that you charge $10. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the way I would do it.
Yep.
All right, guys. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.